Howdy ladies and gents, my name is Thom Gibson and today I'm answering the web's most asked questions about teachers. I obviously ripped this off from Wired magazine, who does videos exactly like this with celebrities, and I saw another teacher YouTuber do it named That One Happy Classroom, but I'll be answering different questions and I'm a different person than her and I thought it was cool, so I thought I'd do it. I'll link to hers down in the description if you want to check hers out. So I decided to search what do teachers ... why do teachers ... and how do teachers ... to see what results would come up, and thought I would answer what I consider the more interesting questions. So the first thing I searched was, why do teachers blank? Why do teachers teach? I think there's probably a lot of reasons that teachers teach, but for the teachers that stay in it through the long haul and teach for more than 1 or 2 years, I think they do it because they want to make an impact, they want to influence young people's lives for good, and they obviously want to make a lot of money. Why do teachers give homework? If you're also a teacher, you know that homework is quite the buzz topic, and there's research of, is homework effective? Is homework not effective? Is there equity in the sense that not every child has the opportunity to go home to a quiet place and get help with their homework from their parents who are educated? Teachers generally give homework to reinforce the things that are done in class. My own philosophy of homework, I try to give students as much time in class to complete the assignments as they can, and then whatever they don't finish, they have to do for homework. If it's something that we only got started on and worked on for 10 minutes in class, I won't assign that for homework and I'll just say, don't worry about it, we'll pick it up when we start class next time. But if it's something that over half the students were able to complete in class, then I'll go and say, okay, if you didn't finish it, go ahead and finish it for homework. And that's more of a time management thing, mainly because when you're teaching a group of students, you're trying to go at a pace where most of them are able to actually keep up. And of course, offering office hours during lunch several times a week for students who would like a little bit more guidance and or just want to get it done at school and not have to worry about it at home. Why do teachers get apples? I did a little research on this. I don't really like apples and no student has ever, I think one student has got me an apple. I didn't eat it. But historically, an apple has represented knowledge, both in Greek mythology, but also as early as the stories of Adam and Eve, and you have the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and there was an apple. But I also learned that in the 1700s in Denmark and Sweden, families would use baskets of apples as payment for the teachers, which sounds super terrible. But it was also a pretty common gift for struggling teachers of farmers' kids during the Great Depression. Now I think more kids will come with like a Starbucks cup if they're gonna come with anything, or here in Austin, a breakfast taco, which is pretty awesome. Hasn't happened very often, but when it has, it's great. Why do teachers deserve more pay? I think if you paid teachers more, then you would attract more talent of people that maybe aren't getting into education because they can't support their family on $45,000 a year. I've met several educators that were excellent educators, but they were starting their families and their families were growing and only one person in the household was working, and it's really challenging to make that work on around $45,000 a year. It's pretty common for teachers to have side jobs, which unfortunately can interfere with some of the work that they may want to be doing in their classroom in regards to preparing lessons or in regards to giving students feedback on their assessments or their assignments. And the less time you have to do those things, the less of a meaningful experience it is for the kids. And so I don't think all of the problems in education in the United States can be solved by paying teachers more, but I think it would be a good starting point. But if it was a job where you needed more training to get into it, to become a little bit more competitive, then you have people vying for teaching positions instead of schools really just having to take whoever they can get, whether they're super qualified or not. I saw a billboard here in Austin that says like, wanna teach? When can you start? And that's kind of like the attitude of like, well, we'll just take anybody if you can start tomorrow. And I get the meaning behind the billboard, and it's like, we can get you going, we'll teach you how to be a teacher and be effective. And it was actually the teaching program that I went through myself, and it was a great program, but the message that it sends is not one of like, we are looking for the cream of the crop and we are looking for the best of the best for our students. All right, let's try typing in, how do teachers get paid? With money. It is interesting that in some districts, they don't actually pay you during the summer months. They just take your salary and they divide it by the 10 months that you are working. But every school that I've worked at has just taken up my salary and divided it up into the 12 months. And so I'm still getting paid over the summer, which I actually prefer much more than the idea of getting paid more on the other months, but then not getting paid during the summer. How do teachers grade? It really depends on the grade level and the content, obviously, but the clearer the expectations that the teacher can provide, the better. If there there are rubrics and checklists that say this is where all of these points are coming from and these are the expectations for this part, then students are more aware. It's a little less subjective than just putting a number on an assignment. But even with rubrics, there's a problem in the sense of a lot of rubrics I see don't actually assess the content that you're trying to assess. So if you're trying to assess the student's knowledge and understanding of the Civil War, having a rubric where half of your points are on creativity and how nice your poster board looks is not really assessing how well they know that Civil War content. Jennifer Gonzalez from the Cult of Pedagogy podcast has a pretty good episode on this, on how to create better rubrics, that I'll go ahead and link in the description down below. How do teachers know what to teach? Teachers are in public schools. They're generally given a curriculum. Some curriculums are a little bit looser than others in the sense of these are the things you need to teach and go ahead and teach them in the way that you would like, or these are the things that you need to teach and you need to teach them this way and in this order and by this time period. That's really challenging. My first 3 years I was working at a public elementary school. It was an International Baccalaureate primary years program, and so it was a mix of having the Texas state standards, but also we used this International Baccalaureate format where you had this big theme and then all the things that you were teaching from science and social studies and English and math were all supposed to fit together around this theme. So it's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle where it's like, these are the things we need to teach, and these things from social studies can kind of go with that theme, and these things from English can kind of go in that theme, and it's pretty challenging. I think I would have gotten the hang of it after a few more years, but the 3 years that I did it was tough. Now I'm at a private school where I still have to look at the state standards, but I have a lot more freedom in how I teach and the order that I teach it and how much time that I spend teaching the things that I do. What do teachers do? Teachers plan lessons, they grade assignments, they manage classrooms, they build relationships, they counsel students, they encourage learning, they discipline students, they serve as role models, they communicate to parents, they communicate to admin, and a lot of other things. What do teachers do in the summer? If you just search summer teacher on YouTube, you'll find a ton of videos of all these different teachers and what they do. A lot of teachers will do summer school, or they'll do camps, or they'll do tutoring. I recently made a video of my different summer side hustles, and I also made a video on how to make the most of your teacher summer. I'll link both of those in the description. What do teachers wear? Different schools have different dress codes, but generally you'll at least be casual professional, slacks and a polo shirt. My school is super lax on dress code, but ever since my first year of teaching and reading several books on education and professionalism, I've chosen to wear a tie virtually every day to school, as I think it communicates I'm a professional, I take my job seriously, I want to be here, and I want to give you my best. What's cool is this past year I had a couple students that adopted that philosophy and they decided on making Friday tie day Friday, and so they would just wear a polo shirt and then have a little tie. I showed them how to tie a tie.
Hey, why are you wearing a tie?
Because it's tie day Friday.
Tie day Friday.
So I knew I definitely could not show up on Fridays without a tie, lest I be breaking the tie day Friday pact. And what's funny is one of the first times that we did it, we were on a field trip, and then one of the students that was wearing a tie was kind of starting to run around and be a little rambunctious, and then he stopped and he's like, wait, that's not how a professional would act. And then he was just walking with his head back a little bit and his chest out, and it was pretty awesome. And that is me, a teacher, answering some of the web's most asked questions about being a teacher. My question for you is, if you are a teacher, would you answer any of these questions any differently? Or are there any questions on that list that you saw pop up that you really have some insight on? Let me know in the comments below. My name is Thom Gibson. Thanks to That One Happy Classroom for coming up with this cool idea that I could totally steal. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.